Good morning, everybody. Tom here. This is Ulmus Americana, and it's a cultivar called Princeton. Cultivars, as you may recall, of plants in horticulture have single quotes, okay? Not double quotes, single quotes. So Ulmus Americana, single quote, capital P, Princeton, single unquote. That means that a true species of the American elm was cultivated for particular characteristics. In this case, as you can imagine, disease resistance. Okay, cultivars in the plant world are cultivated for many reasons. Very often disease resistance, but also flowers, fruit, of course. In the orchard world, that tend to be called varieties of apples. But they're all cultivated. They're all selected, chosen. There's a lot of different words in plant taxonomy that can be a little confusing and interchangeable. It's worth looking into it a little bit. But I just want to talk about Princeton for a minute. Princeton was developed over several decades and marketed heavily once it was ready for prime time in the early 2000s. Late 1990s, early 2000s. It's considered to be 95% resistant to Dutch elm disease. Now, there are several others as well that are in that neighborhood of resistance. The Jefferson, the Valley Forge, the New Harmony. There are several others over the years, like Washington and Liberty, you may have heard of. And I'm not going to comment about what's best, but some of the characteristics turned out to be pretty interesting. Princeton, I found it to be true around here that we've lost about 5% of the trees that I've seen planted. We've lost them to Dutch elm disease. So it is not resistant. Remember COVID? Remember the vaccine did a great job, but it didn't stop it for everybody. Same thing here. It's just 95%, which is pretty great. One of the characteristics of this cultivar that it develops many leaders, co-dominant stems, and narrow branch unions. And if you've heard me talk about that, I don't love it when branches grow really close together with narrow branch unions. Okay, we need to prune this tree very often in order to maintain that vertical apical dominance, that dominant central leader, and eventually that stereotypical American elm hourglass form. It's hard to get in Princeton. We've learned that over several years. We also do not prune elm trees, especially American elm trees, between the spring and the mid to late fall, because the elm bark beetle, the vectors of Dutch elm disease, are active during that time. So this has to be done in the wintertime. If you miss it, you gotta wait, because you're just opening up wounds, and that sap, that open wound, attracts the elm bark beetle, because that's what they're after. After all, they're just looking for to feed on the sap. They are not giving. They are not the disease. They are the vector of the disease. We used to treat for the elm bark beetle. We don't do that anymore. Treating for the disease and trying to maintain resistance, either with prophylactic fungicidal applications or biological vaccines, which you've seen me post about as well. Anyway, a lot of information about the American elm and the Princeton especially. Lots of leaders in here that we're going to come back and prune next winter, hopefully. See ya.